Hi everyone, it's Dr. Miller. I wanted to make sure we had a good concluding video this week as we finish Clarissa. Um, I wanted to show you a little bit how part of this book is about timing being wrong, whether it's at the very beginning when her family wants to rush Clarissa into a marriage in haste, whether it's Lovelace's inability to slow down getting to know Clarissa, and becoming friendly with her rather than continually attempting to force her desire, which does not exist in the same way as his. At some point, it probably did exist, but certainly he um, prevented it from working, even before he rapes her. And then finally, there is the endlessly difficult issue of her family. As soon as she runs away, it takes them a very long time to forgive her. Um, and it's too late when they forgive her. You'll see that, she's dying, and the way the slowness of correspondence is, um, it ends up being, too late for Clarissa to um, make amends with her family. So we see her sister, Arabella, in September. She writes to her, and this is letter 4 of volume 8, so it's, whatever, you know, a couple pages into book 8. Um, Dear sister, we have just heard that you are exceedingly ill. We all loved you as never young creature was loved. You are sensible of that, Sister Clary, and you have been very naughty, but we could not be angry always. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's a really interesting bookend, to have, book 1 be about some of the, hypocritical and difficult issues in her family. And then, they come right back in book 8, with this sort of, oh, but you've been so naughty, but everything's fine. Get well soon. Um, we are indeed more afflicted with the news of your being so very ill than I can express. For I see not but, after this separation, we understand your misfortune has been greater than your fault, and that, however unhappy, you have demeaned yourself like the good young creature you used to be. We can unpack that in a second. We shall love you better, if possible, than ever. Oh my goodness. There's a lot here. I mean, part of it, I think, is that Arabella is the better sister now, according to Arabella. And so she's able to kind of look down on Clarissa. Your misfortune has been greater than your fault, which I think refers to her rape, um, but partly blames her for putting herself in that circumstance. But that apparently she has suffered enough, and that being very ill, it's okay now that, you're dying, we can forgive you. Um, so, the parents send their thoughts and prayers, and, her mother is even willing to go and visit. Um, So I hope you'll rejoice at this good news. Pray let us hear that you do. Your next grateful letter on this occasion, especially if it gives us the pleasure of hearing you are better upon this news, will be received with the same, if not greater delight than we used to have in all your prettily penned epistles. Oh, we used to like you so much. I remember that. It'd be nice to hear from you now. So it's just agony. Yet it's also so very realistic. Um, People are often so blocked off from one another's pain, one another's timeline, one another's experience that, you could be experiencing a very acute loss, a very acute trauma. This is happening a lot with coronavirus, where, things are fine and then all of a sudden they are very quickly not fine at all for people. But yet someone else who isn't in that traumatic state doesn't experience that time in the same way, and they don't understand the urgency of it. And it's just one of the tragedies of reality and human life, that that there are times when people are in dire need and someone doesn't realize it until too late. If right after she was raped, her whole family had come and gotten her, this would have been a very different novel. Or maybe some of the things would have been similar, but she had no reason to believe that there was anything to look forward to. So I think that seeing those uneven timelines and uneven responses with every character in this novel, with the possible exception of Anna, who seems to be kind of in sync with Clarissa for at least enough of it. It's something that I think people relate to. It's something that I think is real, and it's also very compelling, especially when you have a novel told in letters, where there is an implicit time gap in between these different letters going back and forth. So anyway, I wanted to do a little bit of closer work with this this artifact of correspondence, where Arabella only has limited information to go on, unaware that, that Clarissa's, that we're looking at death and not, a head cold. And we see her kind of attempts to reconcile, which are insufficient, as we can see. So I'm going to move on to talk about what we're going to be doing this week. For book 7, I have Lovelace writing to Belford about Clarissa's death. So, you see Saturday, September 9th was what we were looking at. And then September 6th is when this letter is written from Clarissa's sister. So, just as these letters are going out, she's dying. This is Lovelace writing to Belford. We can do our last kind of series of responses directly on a text, directly annotating a text. And I love how you've all been doing that, by the way, for book 7. For book 8, what I've done is this document called English 4000 Clarissa Final Thoughts. And I've made that a little bit different, because what it's done is it has given us a chance to just free write and write the things that interest us and comment on one another and do whatever the heck interests you, and create this sort of big document about this big novel. So I wrote a little bit of a mini response myself, as well as some questions for you all to think about. What did you learn from reading this book? If someone asked you to explain, well, why is this book important? What would you say? Maybe you would say it's not. Maybe you would say it's extremely important. What lingering questions do you have? One question people often have, and we can get into it if you would like, is about the death of Clarissa. There are people who die of grief, who die of trauma. There are implications that she stops eating. There are, these are things that do happen, even when, even when you're not in a novel. There are ways that people can die suddenly. also, if you disliked it, how were you able to make it through the book? Even if you liked it but were struggling with the workload, I think it's important to validate the fact that you got through it. I read similarly long books as an undergraduate English major, and I did feel a sense of accomplishment with them. In the case of Ulysses by James Joyce, you're similar length to this abridged Clarissa. Tom Jones by Henry Fielding is similar length to this Clarissa. Um, and I really did feel like celebrating after I made it through each one. It feels like you're conquering something in a way, which is weird because this is a book that's about power imbalances and power exchanges. Um, but I mean, like take the win, take the win. We need more of those these days. So yeah. So we've got reading the rest of Clarissa. We've got a little book 7. We've got some book 8 when you're done. And finally, what we have, here's my calendar such as it is. What Zoom am I canceling? I have no idea. Oh, I know what that is. That's when I'm getting my second vaccination. Anyway, you will notice that I've thankfully taken out my Friday meetings from here, so you don't have to see all of my other stuff. I tend to stack meetings on Friday. Office Hours Miller. Okay, we got that on Monday as well. But what I wanted to show you is that we are having a party. You don't have to come, but I would love it if you could come by and say hi. If you're working, that's okay. We can, chat another time. So I think we would have had a party in class, and you deserve a party. This is around when my classes tend to meet, so I figured I would go with that. You finished reading Clarissa. It is a big deal. So, sit down. Like, do you knit? Do you paint? Do you draw? Do you like puzzles? Do you just want to like drink coffee or tea or a Coke? Do you just want to have a snack? Whatever you want to do, come by. We will raise a coffee mug to Clarissa and talk about what's to come and talk about the good things around the corner. Our next novel is The Last Man by Mary Shelley, which is about a plague, a pandemic. However, it's nice that we're reading it when there's a vaccine. Hooray! So it's a little bit more optimistic than when I first put in the book order way back last year. So yes, I hope I'm going to be able to see you all. I'm sending this link to you as well. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. All right. Thank you all for everything. I am always happy to answer questions and check in with anything you need. Take care.